Hello, friends, family, prayer partners, missionary support partners. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope, as I'm trying something a little bit new this time, doing it as a video rather than trying to type out everything, and hope that you hear my enthusiasm and excitement about the things that God is doing. I hope this helps. So if this is something that you like, maybe leave a comment below and let me know if this is something I should keep doing or go back to the old-fashioned way of typing everything out and all the stories and pictures and everything. But so yeah, I'm excited to be able to just take a couple minutes of your time to tell you what God has been doing. And first of all, I want to thank the many of you who over the last few months have reached out to me and my family after the passing of my dad. It was a very difficult journey, and but the cool thing was the experience of the body of Christ and friends coming alongside and just supporting us. I have felt that, I've sensed it, and while it was a very difficult journey and difficult to navigate everything that, you know, the whole life goes on and things keep needing to be done, navigating that journey, to know that I was supported in that was so good. And just I hope that you've heard the story of how my dad met Jesus. If you haven't, I'd love to tell it to you, but I'm so pleased to be able to say that even through the grief that my mom and my siblings and our whole family and I are still feeling, that the story of how both my dad lived and how he died has pointed people and brought people to Jesus. And so for that, I celebrate. I still miss him a lot, but I'm so grateful, and thank you for the role that you played in that. So, like I said, it's been an amazing year, and it's tough to recap everything here in a short video, but from a coaching standpoint, especially here in Minnesota, we've had an incredible year. It's been interesting. We've seen a lot of the youth pastors that I coached in the first couple years of being with Lead 222. Some of those coaches and leaders have stepped out into different ministries, which is really exciting, planting churches, stepping into new forms of ministry, and some of them that does mean that they've stepped away from involvement in Lead 222, and I'm so grateful for them and the foundation that they built. But what's crazy is we're now trying to pray through and figure out, how do we take care of all of the other youth pastors and coaches that we have involved now? So it's a really good problem to have. We had so many new youth pastors get coached this year, and hearing stories about how this is exactly what I was looking for, or if I didn't have my coach to talk to, I maybe wouldn't have made it through this year. And so just so exciting, the things that God is doing within our coaches community here in Minnesota and around the country with Lead 222. We continue to expand. There's new people who are coming in, and it's really cool just being able to look at a map of the United States and see, oh, we know people here and here and here, and God is doing stuff. And so just celebrate what God is doing there. The Minnesota Gathering had an outstanding year. This year I passed off the leadership of the Gathering to Tyler Rowland and Justin Domino, two of our key coaches and best leaders. And they did an awesome job, and it was just a blessing to be able to support them, and while at the same time supporting different gatherings around the country as well, as I was freed up from this one. One thing to be in prayer for is that we're looking at starting a second gathering here in the Twin Cities on the southern part of town, and just pray that God brings us to the right people who need a community like that maybe being on the south side will help us and help them get there, because it'll be a little more convenient, whether it's location, day and time of the week, whatever. So be praying about that. And then the final thing, and this season of the year is the big thing, is our lead missions. The last 2 weeks I have been in Myrtle Beach and Virginia Beach with the trip we're calling the Coastal Virginia trip, and they were awesome. God showed up, and I always say God always shows up when we get away to be with Him, to serve Him, all of that, but I never want to take that for granted. And so we were prayed up and we were focused, and it was great. It was a tough stretch for my family and I, being gone 2 straight weeks, but we just saw God show up, and it was awesome. And one of the stories from Myrtle Beach, we had, it was tough because some of the groups that registered for that trip, or the trip that I'll tell you about that's coming up next week, they did it because of the hurricane and the flooding that happened there. But it's been almost 10 months since the flood, so, you know, there's not a ton left to do. But my friend Charles and I, the first morning of the trip, we went out to a neighborhood that we knew got hit pretty hard, and we were just asking the Lord to show us where can we serve. And we pulled up into the driveway of this abandoned house, and a lady from the house next door comes out of the house, and she's like, "Oh, thank God you're here." And Charles and I look at each other, and we're like, well, clearly we're in the right place. And it was so cool. That afternoon, we got a chance to bring a group of students back over to serve her as she was getting everything out of her house and getting kind of the property set up for Samaritan's Purse to come in, gut it, raise it up on stilts, and then completely redo the house. So we just saw God clearly show us what to do. And then it was super cool at the end of the week. The work project for that Friday was actually helping a woman move her stuff back into her house after it had been completed. And so to see both sides of the recovery process was pretty cool. Another highlight for me was last week in the Coastal Virginia trip. I had a chance to have my daughter Caitlin come with me. She felt like a big girl, getting on an airplane by herself and everything, but she's 16, going to be a junior, and it was a great experience just getting to serve alongside her, because while she made friends and did some of the ministry, she was really there helping lead and facilitate the trip, and it was a blessing to be able to serve alongside her. And then a story that hopefully you'll see on social media coming up is there was a young man from one of the groups who came that had been involved in youth group for a while but had not surrendered his life to Jesus yet. And on the second night of our trip, he gave his life to the Lord, and it was just an incredible moment. So grateful that God would use the things that I'm involved in to continue to advance His kingdom. So keep praying that would happen in increasing measure. Some prayer things for you. I've got 2 more weeks of missions coming up. Next week I'm back in Myrtle Beach. I'll actually be running the first half, 2/3 of that trip, and then I'll come home to get ready for the Twin Cities mission trip that I host here in our area. And so that's the biggest one for me of the year, just trying to make sure that all the details are in place. And it's so cool getting to call my friends that we've been doing ministry together for a long time, but to call my friends and say, hey, I got 100 and some kids coming, what do you need? So it's going to be a really great week. Pray for my family in this time. It is a busy time. And so just so grateful to my wife, Christina, and I get to go on all these grand adventures, and she loves being a mom, and she's an incredible mom. But obviously it's harder getting our kids to their different activities when I'm not around, so just pray for that. Pray for our funding. We still, that's always a constant thing, and I trust the Lord to prompt the right people to partner with us in investing in leaders to see more students come to know Jesus. But we just found out a couple, probably 2 months ago, that we had $200 a month, and for different reasons, and they were fine, but $200 a month, 2 $100 a month donors, they're just going to do something different. And so there's always a prayer for that. And then the last thing is Sunday, August 11th is the Lead 222 Minnesota golf event. And so I'll put the information in the email for this, and so hopefully you caught that. We're looking for people to come and golf. We're looking for whole sponsors. If that's something that you'd be willing to partner with us in, I would be very grateful. So thanks again for taking the almost 9 minutes here to hear my story, but I'm so grateful. So please leave any comments below, anything that I can be praying for you about. Any ways that I can support you, my family can support you and celebrate you. We know that being a part of the body of Christ is both playing our role in giving as well as receiving, like we do so much. So thank you very much. Have a great day.